Okay, hi. I would like to share Deuteronomy chapter 4, verses 15 through 38. And I know I can't make anybody see scripture clearly, only the Most High Spirit can do that. But I can plant seeds and just say that I can only work out my own salvation with fear and trembling. And you'll notice many times in scripture when something is repeated, it just means that it's very important for us to take notice of, to acknowledge, and to just recognize that this is something this is a message that is trying to be portrayed to us. And this is a actual consistent message all throughout scripture. If it's not, people are really taking the scriptures out of context. But starting in verse 15, it says, "Therefore, watch out," notice this, "for yourselves, since you did not see a shape of any kind on the day that Yahweh spoke to you in Horeb from the fire. Do not become corrupt and make yourselves a carved image having the shape of any figure, not a representation of a human being." So like Jesus, white or black. It doesn't say that, but that's what it's saying when it says human being, male or female, or a representation of any animal on earth, or a representation of any bird that flies in the air, or a representation of anything that creeps along the ground, or representation of any fish in the water below the shoreline. For the same reason, do not look up at the sky, at the sun, the moon, the stars, and everything in the sky, and be drawn away to worship and to serve them. Okay, so that's really important. Astrology, people who just put too much emphasis on the sun and the moon and the stars. Yahweh your Elohim, Yahweh your God, has allotted these to all the peoples under the entire sky. They've been given to everybody, essentially. No, you, Yahweh, has taken and brought out of the smelting furnace, out of Egypt. The smelting furnace, that sounds familiar, like maybe America. To be a people of inheritance for him as you are today. But Yahweh was angry with me, and this is Moshe speaking, Moses, on account of you, and swore that I would not cross the Jordan and go into the good land, which Yahweh your Elohim is giving you to inherit. Rather, I must die in this land and not cross into the Jordan, but you are to cross and to take possession of that good land. Here it is again. Only watch out for yourselves, right? Notice he says yourselves, not the pastor, not your friends, not the sinners, not Satan. He says watch out for yourselves, right? Because he knows that our own desires are what lead us astray into worshiping idolatry or pagan gods and pagan traditions. It is our own hearts and the things that we want to do. We have to watch out for ourselves so that you won't forget the covenant of Yahweh, your Elohim. So this covenant must be really important because they're not to forget it, right? Which he made with you, and make yourself a carved image, a representation, right? Because that's what most people say. Like, oh no, the cross is just representing, Jesus dying. The dove, it represents peace. The Jesus picture, it's not really him, but it represents him. Like, no. A representation of anything forbidden to you by Yahweh your Elohim. For Yahweh your Elohim is a consuming fire, a jealous God, right? He can't, not in this unrighteous human way that is like based off of getting what we want, but in this holy, righteous way. He is a jealous God who cannot, be held in the same esteem as anything. Nothing will stand next to him. He's a consuming fire. He needs it, like he's gonna take it all because he's Yahweh, and that is his right. So when you have had children and grandchildren and lived in the land a long time and become corrupt and made a carved image, a representation of something, and thus done what is evil, right? He calls it evil in the sight of Yahweh, your Elohim, your God, and provoked him. I call on the sky and the earth to witness you against you today that you will quickly disappear from the land that you are crossing the Yarden, right? And now this is a prophecy of what is going to come, because he already knows that they're going to do this. You will not prolong your days there, but you will be completely destroyed. And Yahweh will scatter you among the peoples and among the nations to which Yahweh will lead you away, and you will be left few in number. And there you will serve gods, which are the product, little g, which are the product of human hands, made of wood and stone, like Buddha and just so many. Which cannot see, hear, eat, or smell. However, from there you will seek, right? From the nations that you've been scattered, is what he's saying to them. From there you will seek your God, Yahweh, and you will find him if you search after him with all of your heart and being, right? Our being. In your distress, when all these things have come upon you in the last days, in the Akarit Hayamim, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but the word is Hebrew for the last days. You will return to Yahweh, your Elohim, and listen to what he says. And Yahweh, your Elohim, is a merciful God, and he will not fail you, destroy you, or forget. He will not forget the covenant with your ancestors, which he swore to them. Indeed, inquire about the past before you were born. Since the day God created human beings on the earth from one end of heaven to the other, has there ever been anything as wonderful as this? Has anyone ever heard anything like it? Did any other people ever hear the voice of God speaking out of a fire as you have heard and stayed alive? Or has God ever tried to go and to take for himself a nation from the very bowels of another nation by means of ordeals, signs, wonders, war, a mighty and outstretched arm and great an outstretched arm and great terrors, like all that Yahweh your Elohim did for you in Egypt before your very eyes? Whew. This was shown to you so that you would know that Yahweh is God and that there is no other beside him. From heaven, he caused you to hear his voice in order to instruct you. And on earth, he caused you to see his great fire, and you heard his very words coming out of the fire. Because he loved your ancestors, and he chose their descendants after them, which would mean that who are these descendants are pretty important, and brought you out of Egypt with his presence and great power in order to drive out ahead of you nations greater and stronger than you, so that he could bring you in and give you their land as an inheritance, as is the case today. I'm going to keep going. Know today and establish it in your heart, that Yahweh is God in heaven and on the earth below, and there is no other. Therefore, you are to keep his laws and his mitzvah or commandments, which I am giving you today, so that it will go well with you and your children after you, so that you will prolong your days in the land that Yahweh your Elohim is giving you. Okay, important word, forever, right? So this is like, I don't know, I can't emphasize it enough. It's really important, people. Seek the Most High in his ways and learn your history and know who you are. And shalom.